Alright, time to finish this thing for real. You've just entered the Extra Zone Arcade. Last time on the Mario 40th Anniversary Superspective, we took a very long look back at Super Mario Odyssey. I came away from it and the 100% journey as a whole with a new appreciation for one of my favourite games in the series, to the point I'd now consider it my favourite Mario game of all time. Yeah, it was just that good. But as you can see, we're not done. Today's episode, the true finale, is all about Bowser's Fury. Now, I'm sure you might have a few questions, namely, why exactly are we covering this? It's only a side mode, not even mainline. Instead of answering this directly, you can have this obligatory flashback to the very first episode. 1. It has to be a platformer in which you primarily control Mario. 2. The word Super needs to be in the title. And 3. It has to have been developed by either Nintendo's EAD/EPD or R&D1 teams. Okay, well, it doesn't hit that second point, but wait. Okay. Right. So, I've just been informed the game has been updated. Let's see what they changed. Well, goddamn. Your next question is surely, why is this the final episode? Don't we still need to do Mario Wonder? Looks like we'll need to have another flashback to the first episode. This time just moments before the last clip I pulled up. Likely won't cover it as I have a perfectly decent review from last year that I still stand by. But I may still talk about it later in this series, or maybe make a short follow-up of that original review if these videos do well enough. To follow up that last point I made there, stay tuned for the outro. I'll have more to say then. Lastly, I just want to go deeper into the why. See, this game feels like the only real follow-up to Odyssey as of now. Can't wait for this video to be outdated this September when we'll definitely get an announcement of a new 3D Mario. Right? And, as we'll discuss later, this game feels like it expands on some of the ideas in Odyssey, pushing the series into a potentially bold new direction. A direction I could honestly see the next major release lean into. Regardless of if it does, or if this game's style becomes a footnote in 3D Mario history, I still feel like it's an important part of it. Enough to have its own dedicated episode. We'll get into that a little more at the end. For now, let's get into how this thing got made in the first place. There's not much to say about its development, since we actually don't have a lot of details. Probably has something to do with the fact that it's an expansion for a port of Super Mario 3D World to Switch, and usually these kind of re-releases don't have a ton of development tidbits. So yeah, no concepts, planning, or anything at all is known about how they came up with the idea for Bowser's Fury. Great. This section now just amounts to it was developed by Nintendo EPD and 1UP Studio again, and was revealed during the Mario 35th Anniversary Direct. 5 whole years ago, man. Where the hell did that time go? The game would get a couple more trailers after that. One at the 2020 Game Awards and another one in the following month. The January 2021 trailer gave us our first good look at Bowser's Fury itself, and the titular Fury Bowser we'd be going up against. I remember being completely floored by the terrifying kaiju design and heavy metal soundtrack. It felt like such a stark contrast from base 3D World, and I remember thinking, is this the direction Mario is going in now? Not in a bad way, of course. I mean, who doesn't want to fight a giant monster Bowser in Super Saiyan cat form? Well, apparently I didn't, since I actually only played the game 2.5 years after it came out. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury released on February 12, 2021 worldwide to basically universal acclaim. Not to the level of Odyssey, the Galaxy games, or even 3D World's original release, strangely enough. I distinctly remember seeing people mad about IGN's 7 out of 10 rating for this game when they gave the Wii U version a goddamn 9.6. There's always the argument about them being different reviewers, but it is just funny seeing this version of the game that's overall an improvement getting a significantly lower score. Otherwise, the game did just as well as you'd expect any Mario release from this team to do. Shocker. But what about me? Rewinding a bit to when I said this, I mean, who doesn't want to fight a giant monster Bowser in Super Saiyan cat form? Well, apparently I didn't, since I actually only played the game 2.5 years after it came out. Yeah, so I didn't get around to playing this until the summer of 2023 for my Mariothon livestream series. Why? Well, truth be told, I just started getting more into gaming on other platforms. Mainly PC, since I'd just gotten a new one for Christmas back in 2020. In fact, it was the first PC I built myself. Kinda. There were some pre-installed components, but I added the other stuff like the graphics card, which were a nightmare to get a hold of at the time, the CPU, cooling system, and RAM. Basically all the easy parts. Now that I could play more advanced games and run older games a lot better, I spent a whole lot more time on my PC. Then I ended up getting myself a PS5, which were also tough to get your hands on back then, the summer of 2021. With that, a whole new world of possibilities opened up. Namely, I got into the Yakuza series, then played a lot more of the new stuff like Spider-Man Miles Morales and Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. Seeing what fantastic games they had over on PlayStation, I became ever so slightly more invested in them than Nintendo. Slightly. Only for a little while though. So between that and being up to my armpits in college projects, it took me a while to get to this one. In fact, the copy I played for the Mariothon wasn't even mine. I borrowed my girlfriend's since she conveniently had one and barely touched it for some reason. Here were my final thoughts after that first playthrough.
So that was Bowser's Fury. Bro, I'm not even gonna lie. This is my first time playing through it, and like most of it was blind. Like I genuinely like, and I gotta say, man, it was a hell of a lot of fun. I actually really freaking enjoyed that, like thoroughly. Like this is like up there for me now. Top 5, I can't even lie. I'm on 100% coming back to this 100% tip. 100%. That was actually really freaking good. Like, I already went over it and everything, but I feel like this is the future I kind of want for 3D Mario. Like, I think this is where we need to go. Like, just a game like this on a larger scale would be perfect. But yeah, no, this was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed this. And that's it for the marathon. Like, guys, we did it. It's finished.
Calling this a top 5 game in the series and future of 3D Mario sure is a big claim. Does that ring true now that I've come back to it and gotten all 100 cat shines? Or was it all just recency bias? We open with a scene very similar to 3D World's opening. This time, it's a clear and sunny day in the Mushroom Kingdom, where Mario is out for a jaunt. You know, as he's known to do at this point. He notices this strange yet familiar icky paint like goop. It's not moving, though Mario starts to as he follows a trail up to a now very familiar paint like goop in the shape of an M. It then opens up into a dark sinkhole our hero falls into, transporting him into the enigmatic Lake Lapcat. The place is looking pretty dreary, and soon enough, Mario finds out why. He comes face to face with Bowser, who's basically gone berserk. Upon collecting the first cat shine, the large gooey beast is repelled. Awful phrasing, I'm sorry. After he goes back into his underwater sleep, things clear up and we get to meet up with Bowser Jr. He very artistically presents what's happened to his dad, and bashfully asks Mario for help. Together, the two travel this expansive archipelago, recovering cat shines and activating lighthouses to bring Bowser back from darkness's grasp. They encounter and drive off the enraged Koopa King a number of times before the final bout. Once he loses the dark sludge coating, Bowser, looking a lot more like himself, but just a tad more menacing, uses the power of the triple Giga Cat Bell. Try saying that 5 times fast. With the aid of the Goat of the Sea, Plessy, we put a stop to the Shell Titan once and for all. Plessy gets the 3 bells Bowser tried to make off with and crushes him in Giga Cat form. Yeah, everything about this scene is a complete fever dream. Bowser's now been cut down to size, and when he comes to, the first thing he does is try to beef with Mario as if the guy didn't just bring the literal soul back into his eyes. Once an op, always an op, I guess. Junior holds him back, but I love how totally unbothered Mario is. Not just in this scene, but throughout the whole game. I have never seen him give less of a shit about everything happening, and I kinda need more of this. The final shot reveals the whole scene took place on Giga Cat Plessy's back. Incredible. I gotta say, I really enjoyed this little plot for what it was. For starters, Mario and Junior have an interesting dynamic. Always got the feeling the kid never hated Mario's guts the way his pops does. That seems to be the case here, but obviously he tries to intimidate him in front of his dad the first chance he gets. Ultimately, he cares a lot about his old man and wants to impress him. I think it's cute. The setting was also a nice change of pace from the Mushroom Kingdom, even if it isn't the craziest looking area ever. Fury Bowser is just such a badass concept too, and I love how it's executed here, with the fight against giant regular Bowser being a nice surprise at the end there. Good stuff overall, but what's the gameplay got for us? Control-wise, it's pretty much one-to-one with 3D World. You have all the same moves from that game, as well as the new moves added in the updated Switch version. Those are the long jump, spin jump, side flip, back flip, wall jump, ground pound and ground pound jump, roll, rolling leap, and mid-air dive. Oh man, almost forgot about the famous crouch walk. How could I ever leave that out? Good move variety here, with each one being a useful tool in the many different platforming situations you find yourself in, just like in 3D World. Same goes for the movement and physics. You still hold down the run button to dash faster, but I feel the movement was slowed at least a bit. At least compared to the speedier movement of the Switch version. I'm not 100% on that, it could just be that we're in a much bigger environment than anything seen in 3D World. Maybe because of that it seems slower? Not sure. Either way, I'd say the game feel works really well, but I do feel a less floaty jump like Odyssey's would do a lot better in some sections. Otherwise, the snappy, fast and fluid feel of 3D World is kept intact here, so even in the downtime between shines, I'd still be having fun moving around. Something I also praised in Odyssey. Any game with more open map design is immediately improved with a fun movement system. You wouldn't think said movement system designed for a linear 3D game structured like a 2D one would work in a fully 3D open environment, but like I've said time and again, Nintendo EPD is just built different. Speaking of 2D design elements in our 3D games, all the power-ups return from 3D World. Apart from the double cherry, though with the way you can store power-ups in this game, maybe that's for the best. Things would get crazy pretty quick if you stocked up on a bunch of them and used them all at once. You'll probably be using the catsuit the most, but the rest all have their uses. The fire and boomerang flowers are great for some of the enemy gauntlets you have to face. The super leaf is your best friend for tricky platforming. Even the regular old super mushroom has its use here, mainly as the I don't want to use my other power-ups but I still need to be able to take another hit kind of thing. Love that for it. With walls to scale, cogs to scratch and enemies to pounce on, you're probably going to be in cat form more often than not during your time here. Whether it's the regular catsuit and returning Lucky Bell, or even the brand new Invincibility Bell, which also appears in the updated 3D world. Genuinely didn't know that until now, but that's only because you can only get it in both games by scanning either the Cat Mario or Cat Peach amiibo. Is this not literally the definition of pay to win? I mean, if little Timmy is having a really hard time, he's got to convince his mom to drop 15 bones for one of these things. It truly is a cruel world out there. The main new power-up is the Giga Bell, which only appears once a certain number of cat shines have been collected, and once Fury Bowser pops up. This is what turns you into the Super Saiyan cat form I mentioned before, though the inspiration is actually Kome Inu, or lion dogs. They're basically guardians that ward off evil spirits from sacred places like shrines, so it kinda makes sense Mario would take this form to beat up an evil, corrupted Bowser. Gotta love yet another piece of Japanese culture leaking into these Mario games. I think every game should have at least one at this point. In this form, you can scratch, pounce, ground pound, or even just jump as an attack. Lots of ways to deal damage, but if you take damage, you revert to Giga regular Mario. He obviously can't do all the cat moves, but he can still fight. Get hit in this form and he turns to Giga small Mario? He is a literal walking oxymoron. But growing a few feet isn't the only way you can fight back when Bowser is out. You can keep the beast at bay with the help of the cat shines, the main collectible of this game. These are essentially the love child of the shine sprites and moons, and there are just 100 of them to find. Thank God. If I had to collect another 800 or so of these things, this video would have never been made. These are generally super fun to collect, with a great variety of challenges that award them. You'll usually get one by completing some kind of platforming challenge, and because of this game's completely open design, you can get these in a variety of ways. Similar to Odyssey, the game encourages you to experiment with Mario's moveset and power-ups to get the goods however you want to. Most will have a clear and easy solution, but some of the others may require a little more creativity to reach. There are also a lot of ones you'll get through time challenges. These are what I like to call the hurry missions, since a lot of the titles for these ones start with that. Hurry Watch Your Step has you navigate this seemingly invisible platforming maze to reach a cat shine. This has got to be one of my favourite challenges in the game, just for how unique it is. It's also one of the more challenging ones, so I only just grabbed it in time. A very exhilarating challenge. I mentioned some of the enemy rooms before, which have you go up against a variety of guys with a cat shine awarded if you beat them. These are probably my least favourite kind of challenge here, not because they're bad or anything, just they're not as interesting as some of the others. Really just comes down to mashing one of your power-up abilities until they're all cleared out. I do really like how all the enemies are now cat themed. They really went all out with it this time. I mean, everywhere you look it's cat iconography. Even actual cats, who you might need to interact with for some missions. Like these ones where you have to find the lost kittens and bring them home for a cat shine. They can be a little tough to spot at first, so keep an eye out and make sure to clear the path of any danger. One wrong move and you might need to go pick them back up from where you found them. There are even more types of challenge you can partake in here, so I think it's safe to say that collecting these shines never gets stale. You may even encounter a couple bosses to fight for one. Boom Boom and Pom Pom return from base 3D world, but this time also in cat form. They don't actually get any new abilities though, so Boom Boom still spins around and Pom Pom throws her shuriken. It's 3 hits to stomp out these two once again. Glad to see some things just never change. Prince Bully also takes on a feline form, and just like in regular 3D world, you beat him by shoving him into these pipes and kicking him around like a can. If nothing else, a pretty unique fight that was super cool to see return. Then of course is Fury Bowser himself. You'll notice him rise up from the depths of the lake continuously, until a storm brews and he bursts out of his cocoon thing. While it's Fury time, he'll constantly harass you by breathing fire in your direction and dropping burning blocks on top of you. There are some blocks you'll need him to use his powers on, so try and use the Beast's Rage in your favour for some quick and easy cat shines. Well, I say easy, but there's a good chance you might get hit doing this. That happened to me way more times than I'd care to admit. Even if you try to get away from the guy, he'll just leap up and land closer to you. Sometimes way too close for comfort. He is genuinely threatening up close, to the point where he actually jump scared me a few times just turning around and seeing his scary ass right behind me. The team did such a fantastic job with his design. It's just the right amount of terrifying without being over the top, and works as a perfect contrast to the otherwise peaceful environment the game takes place in. So, going back a bit, I talked about how the only way to directly contend with him is in the Giga Catsuit. In these fights, Bowser will shoot out his classic fire breath and bring down some of those burning rocks from before. This time you can actually pick these rocks up and return them to sender for some pretty big damage. He's also got this sideways rolling shell attack that for some reason I had a hard time dodging a lot. This move leaves a trail of sludge behind, which slows your movements. As you progress through the game, he'll have more moves to use on you, so make sure your dodging skills are up to snuff. Attacking him is a simple matter of delivering a scratch, pounce, or ground pound when he's vulnerable. Send him packing and back to the depths from whence he came, and you won't have to worry about him for a little while. Well, that is until you get to 47 cat shines. After this point, it's Fury time all the time. Once you get to 50, the final battle begins, and it's the same rules as before. Go all out. After that is where we fight Giant Bowser. For this one, you just gotta dash towards him on Plessy's back, and use these ramps to jump up and smack the orb containing the cat bells into him. He'll use the same moves Fury Bowser did, but these are pretty easily dodgeable. With that wrapped up, the credits roll and you find out that that was only half the game you just played. So, I guess the other 50 shines you can get at the post game here. Though you do get another reward for this. Plessy will now always be in cat form, though obviously not as gigantic as they were during the final cutscene. Probably for the best. You also unlock new challenges you couldn't do before, like these ones where you have to collect Plessy medals in quick succession for a shine. These are a ton of fun and make great use of Plessy's swimming capabilities, which is already super useful for getting between the major locations. I spent a ton of time just splashing around during this playthrough. I genuinely never got bored of it. So, after collecting the rest of the shines, you can take the fight to this harder version of Fury Bowser with white flaming hair. On top of being way more aggressive, he can also take much more of a beating. Stay on your toes for this one, it's pretty tough. Unless you use this strat I discovered where you take cover in the Claw Swipe Coliseum. None of his moves apart from maybe the shell drop and fiery debris can reach you in here, so you can kinda cheese this fight. That aside, it's the same process as before, with the following fight against Giant Bowser being just a slightly harder version of what we saw before. And that's the 100% journey. Your reward is basically Meowser Jr., and Mario's regular catsuit now resembles his Giga Cat form. It's all just visual stuff, but I think it makes for a neat reward for this fun little adventure. Despite its short length, I mean it only took me around 5 hours to 100% it, Bowser's Fury has a lot going for it. The satisfaction of completing these bite-sized challenges and being rewarded with cat shines, the joy of exploring this huge map teeming with things to do, it genuinely makes for one of the most unique and easy to pick up and play 3D Mario experiences. It really feels like they took the concept of the moons from Odyssey and ran with it. In every way, this expands the idea of finding a bunch of collectibles in an open-ended map, and seems like the perfect evolution of 3D Mario gameplay. Like I said at the top of this video, I believe this game is going to be important to the series' legacy. It feels like they're testing out the idea of an open-world Mario game, and honestly, I would love to see what that would look like. I always envision it as being like 5 or 6 Bowser's Furies put together, if that makes sense. Now, there's not much evidence to suggest that's what the next game will look like, but I'd be shocked if there wasn't at least a little influence. See, this game is still fairly recent, so its legacy hasn't been cemented yet. That said, I think we'll see it bear fruit sooner rather than later. I genuinely believe this could be the future of 3D Mario, and I'd be more than happy if it was. Seems I'm not the only one who thinks so, since this mode got a lot of special attention within the fanbase, and even from reviews. Using 3D World as a base was a great choice, an already incredible foundation. But imagine how far something like this could go with the moveset potential of Odyssey. For now, all we can do is speculate. It may not be a top 5 game for me looking back, but the future of the series is looking bright. And it seems that future is right around the corner.
Look who's back!
Mario!
And he's not alone. In Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. Team up with Luigi, Peach, and Toad and all their friends to discover new worlds and power-ups like Super Bell. Then, dive into the bonus adventure where you battle Bowser. Yes, there's 2 adventures in one for you and your friends in Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. Only on Nintendo Switch, rated E for everyone.
The Mario 40th Anniversary Super Perspective is over. For real this time. Well, kinda. I sorta hinted at this earlier, but there's one last thing I want to do before we wrap it up for good. Since Super Mario Bros. Anniversary is only a couple weeks away, I'll be dropping a huge compilation of all the Super Perspective episodes. And I'll be including a little addendum on Super Mario Bros. Wonder for those who watch all the way through. So, make sure you're subscribed and stay tuned to not miss it. It's gonna be big. Until then, what did you think of Bowser's Fury? Do you think it'll end up being as important as I do? Or do you still think I shouldn't have covered it? Let me know down in the comments. Hit up our Twitch and YouTube live channels to catch those nice weekend streams. And thank you so much for watching this series. This has been one hell of an undertaking. but the support I've gotten, even if only a little, has been amazing. I couldn't be happy with how it all came out, and even if I really don't want to think about it right now, a Sonic one will likely be in the cards for his 35th next year. Alright, I'ma get up out of here now. Take care everyone, and as always, see you next time.